What is up, everybody, and welcome back to your favorite fishing podcast, the Tightlines Podcast. I am your host. My name is Tyler Plackey, and I'll guide you through this excellent episode for you this week. This is episode 9 now, which is crazy. In this week's episode, I'm going to review one of my favorite big soft plastic swim baits. We'll talk about what I like about it, what I don't like, and if I recommend it. Also, we talk about my starting to shop for a fishing kayak. So hint, hint, wink, wink. It's going to be a lot of fun there. And also answer some of your fishing questions coming straight from the tackle box. All this and so much more fun coming at you right here, right now on the Tightlines Podcast. Alrighty, you guys. So, obviously, we're going to start off, as I said in the introduction, with a review of my favorite big soft plastic swim bait. So, first thing I have to do is I actually have to introduce this bait to you. And what is it? So welcome everyone to my full and honest review of the Berkley Cullshad. I also have a YouTube video on this bait I filmed sometime late last year, maybe early this year. It's up on my YouTube channel. So if you want to hear my opinions on it there and actually see what I'm talking about, you can. This video will pretty much hit all the same points, or this episode will hit all the same points, but in a little bit more extended format. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. Obviously, my opinions may have changed since then. I've gotten to try out some other lures and some that I haven't got to try out. So, yeah. So, without further ado, let's start off and let's hear exactly what Berkley themselves wants us to hear regarding the Cullshad. This is straight from Berkley. Immediately after introduction, the Berkley Powerbait Cullshad has already stirred up serious excitement on the tourney scene. Find out for yourself why this shallow water swim bait has quickly become a favorite with fishing pros. Key ingredients include an attention-grabbing size and proprietary honeycomb technology delivering ultra-realistic action and exceptional durability. Smart weighting system, which is apparently trademarked in some way, and a hassle-free harness with hook clip makes this easy-to-fish soft bait ready for instant rigging. Body design and harness keeling keeps this line-through harness-style bait running true even at high speed. Use the nail weight slots on the bottom of the bait to dial in the depth and speed. 2 slot locations allow you to burn the Cullshad without fear of blowouts, a tendency with other soft swim baits. Ideal for skipping undercover, the optimized hook clip keeps the ultra-sharp Berkley Fusion 19 treble hook pinned to the body. Exclusive Berkley Powerbait scent and flavor adds an extra layer of potent attraction. And then some key points coming from it that they have at the bottom. Attention-grabbing size, proprietary honeycomb technology, ultra-realistic action and exceptional durability, smart weighting system, hassle-free harness with hook clip, runs true even at high speeds, 2 nail weight slots, and exclusive Berkley Powerbait scent and flavor. Just so we're clear, this also does come in saltwater and unrigged methods, but we are only going to be talking today about the pre-rigged line-through freshwater Cullshad. We're not going to focus on the other two. So, real quick, let's break down what they talked about, and then we are going to talk about a lot of those specs, obviously, because that's obviously the big portions of this bait that there is to review. So it says attention-grabbing size. Yeah, it's a nice size. I mean, they come in a 6 and 8 inch. We'll talk about all that in a minute. Proprietary honeycomb technology. That is in the tail itself, into like the midsection that allows it to swim back and forth. So that's what they're talking about, honeycomb. If you pick one up, you'll see exactly what I mean. The front half's very solid. The back half's very honeycombed. Ultra-realistic action with exceptional durability. So they're saying it's going to have a very good action. It's going to be very durable. It's not going to tear on the first fish. Smart weighting system. That's those 2 nail weight slots they also talk about in a minute that helps to keep it either higher or lower in the water column. Hassle-free harness with hook clip. So they're talking about the Fusion 19 hook underneath. That treble hook that actually clips in to keep it in place, doesn't snag. Runs true at high speed. We'll talk about that. And their Powerbait scent and flavor. So those, obviously, that's the scent that you get and the flavor that the fish get, and it's supposed to help them bite on for longer. They talk a lot about that. So yeah. So we're going to start off with specs and price of this thing. So there's the specs. There's 2 sizes of it. And again, we're talking about the freshwater rigged. Okay, there's smaller for unrigged and saltwater and stuff like that. There's other sizes. But the 2 sizes you have for the freshwater pre-rigged is the 6-inch 1 1/5 ounce and the 8-inch 2 3/4 ounce. The 6-inch 1 1/5 ounce comes in between $11.99 and $12.99 depending on the color. It has a size 1 Berkley Fusion 19 treble hook, and it comes in 1 per pack. The 8-inch 2 3/4 ounce is between $14 and $15.99, depending again on the color you get. I don't understand why the color changes it. Maybe the more desirable ones are a little more expensive. It comes with a 2/0 sized treble hook in the Berkley Fusion 19, so again, a great hook. But that is a very, very large treble hook, and again, 1 per pack. So what do I think these can be used for? Target species for the 6-inch is going to be bass, walleye, saugeye, saugers, stuff like that. Just your normal predatory fish. And then for the 8-inch, all of the above, plus maybe you could get into muskie and pike. You could probably get pike as well with the 6-inch. Just depends on the size of the pike and where you're fishing at. But funny enough, that the 8-inch might also just end up being too small for muskie. It may not even care about it. So it comes in 12 total colors. Both sizes come in 12 colors. Those colors are HD Rainbow Trout, Electric Shad, Sight Flash, Hitch, Albino, HD Gizzard Shad, HD Ghost Gizzard, HD Blue Shad, Ghost Morning Dawn, Green Pumpkin Pearl White, HD Yellow Perch, and Lime Ice. So those 12 colors kind of cover everything you need. You have your very normal, relaxed color, your very natural colors. You like your green pumpkins, your gizzard shads, your blue shad, stuff like that. Then you kind of have your bright ones like your electric shad and your lime ice. And then you also have stuff like albino, which is more of just like a plain white. So it kind of covers everything you're going to need color-wise. There's not much to be desired except for maybe like a matte black would be really cool. Or just like a true like black and blue flake, something like that. I know some of them get close, but not quite. There's a couple colors. Obviously, everyone is gonna be like, "Oh, what if we do this color?" I get that, but for the most part, they do cover a lot of the good colors, which I do. I really do appreciate that. I appreciate having all 12 colors in both sizes. 6-inch and 8-inch size are two pretty good sizes. In between 1 1/5 ounce and 2 3/4 ounce, you get in some pretty large baits out here. The 8-inch is twice as heavy, which I was shocked about. I didn't realize it was going to be that big. So let's talk about gear to throw it on, and then we're going to get into our pros and cons and stuff like that. So what I throw it on, so I don't have a big swim bait rod. I'm not a big swim bait bro. I'm not a glide bait guy. Haven't gotten that into it yet because I don't really fish enough water that I would need that. So I do throw this on my all-around combo, and when I say this, I'm talking about my 6-inch. I mostly throw the 6-inch 1 1/5 ounce size. I do have an 8-inch one I've thrown a little bit, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But I throw this on my Dobbins MK734C, which is it's 7'3", heavy fast throws. It's rated from 1/4 ounce to 1 ounce. I understand it's a little bit above. It's not a big deal. And I've got it on a 7.3-to-1 Tatula CT reel with 17-pound mono. For the 8-inch, like I said, I don't really throw it a ton base, pretty much just because of its size. It's too big for the waters I fish mostly. I don't go fish rivers all that much. I'm getting into river fishing quite a bit. I'm more of a creek and pond and lake guy. So I don't really ever have a need for an 8-inch. This thing's a humongous bait. If you've never seen one, go to the store and check them out. They're humongous baits. I've thrown it, funny enough, on like my catfish gear just because it's actually, it's durable enough to throw it. And you don't really have to feel for much up because they're going to slide, they're going to kind of strike at it and swipe at it and run with it. So you don't really have to feel too much of a twitch. It's really just you're waiting for it to not move. So I would love to see how it throws on a big, on a big setup, what's rated for it. I would be intrigued for that, but I have not thrown it. So the reason I like mono is the big part of this. So we've talked rod. Let's talk real quick. So I want a normal 7.3-to-1. Don't want anything too fast. Don't want anything too slow. You want enough to pick up your line. Just an average, everyday reel for me is good. Going into line, I pick mono because I want some stretch. And I like to use a fast rod, as we talked about. I'm not a big moderate rod guy. I haven't gotten into glass rods or anything like that. I like a nice fast rod. So mono gives me a little bit of stretch so I don't rip the treble hooks out of its mouth. So yeah, that's my big reason for the mono. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our pros and cons. There are likes and dislikes about the Cullshad. And this is going to kind of hit a lot of those points from right at the beginning when we talk about their whole spiel from Berkley. This is going to touch on a lot of that. The big first pro for me, we're going to go pros first and then cons. The first big pro for me is it is relatively cheap for the size of bait, especially when infused with power bait scent, pre-rigged, ready to go. All you have to do is tie it on out of the box, you're ready to fish. Somewhere between $11.99, and $12.99 for the 6-inch is a really good price. And still, $15 to $16 for the 8-inch. That's a pretty good price when you're comparing it to some of these like resin glide baits and other things that people get into. If you're going apples to apples here, the 6-inch compared to like the 6-inch mag draft is $5 or $6 cheaper. So the price for it's a really good spot to be at. The next thing I really like about this is that the hook underneath has a nice clasp on it. It's got that metal clip that it clips into the body instead of a magnet. I'm not a big fan of the magnets. I just bought a mag draft. I have yet to use it. I finally bucked up the $19 for a mag draft and bought it. Haven't pulled it out of the box yet, but I'm going to. But I have fished the Strike King Final Copy, and I did not like the magnet at all. I felt like I was losing the hook off on casts, where the hook would just fly off in the middle of a cast, and then I was done for the that whole cast is ruined because you have a ginormous treble hook sitting underneath grabbing all the grass and you're done. Another pro for it. Okay, so going back, I like the clasp compared to a magnet, so that's a pro. Another pro is it fishes really well at slow speeds. With a lot of these other baits, you have issues at slow speeds where it just kind of sits there and just moves through the water. It doesn't paddle, it doesn't roll at all. It does fish really well at slow speeds. It's got an excellent hook in it. Everyone knows Berkley's Fusion 19 hooks is a great hook. Comes standard with those, which is really nice to see. And comes with a good size too. It's not too small, not too big. It looks just right. The second to last pro we've got here goes back to one of the big things they touched on is durability. This thing is insanely durable. I've had this for probably a year and a half now. I've used this one for a year and a half, and I have caught, I'm trying to think of a number, but tons and tons of bass. 30, 35 bass on this lure. Plus, I even went out and fished for walleye with it and got a walleye on it. And it's still, it's not even torn. There's not even a tear in this plastic. And you got walleye biting on it. And it still fishes excellent. So, a true testament. The one thing with durability that is kind of a con is the color. I got some of the color starting to come off a little bit on the edge. No big deal, not the end of the world. But that kind of is what it is. All right, so the last pro we've got is going to be the wide variety of color options for the different situations. So you've got, like I said, natural, you've got bone white, you've got dark colors, you've got the super bright, flashy colors. You kind of got everything you need mixed into the 12 colors that they have. And it's nice to see that, they're not going like what Zoom does and have 47 different colors, and some are like a black and blue and then black and blue flake and a green pumpkin and green pumpkin flake, and where it's not a huge difference. They kind of hit the colors you need it to be, and that's it. So those are 6 pros. We're going to move on to our cons here, a couple of them. I got 3 cons. The first con goes back to they were talking about not coming out of the water at high speeds, and I have found that to be false. I have found that this bait has a very difficult time sinking without adding nail weights into it. And I've yet to add the nail weights in, but I would think that out of the package, this thing ought to fish good. And this thing almost is a wake bait because it likes to breach quite a bit. If you're fishing it, and that's why when I was talking about, size of reel earlier, sitting at a 7-to-1 class of reel, if you go any faster, you're never going to keep that thing underwater. You can go slower. I like, again, 7-to-1 is a good size, but it's not the soapbox we're on here. But I've noticed that it does have a tendency to breach really fast. So you have to throw it out. You have to really let it sink for probably 15 or 20 seconds, because as you reel it in, it just tends to just come back up into the water or out of the water. Number 2 goes back to that clasp. While it is a pro, the one con it has is it is pretty thin metal, and it does have a tendency to bend out over time. It's a very easy fix with pliers, but if that clasp ends up breaking from bending in and out so much, you're kind of SOL at that point. You're screwed. You're not getting. It's going to be hard to find the right clasp. You're just buying a new bait at that point. And the third con I've got is that there's no size smaller than a 6-inch size. I would love to see this thing at like a 4-inch size or a 5-inch, kind of like Strike King. They have I think it's a 4.5-inch and a 6-inch are their 2 options. So I do kind of like that you can get a smaller option. I wish, and maybe Berkley will end up doing one, but I also do like, they call it the Cullshad, because you're hoping to catch a big fish and call out when they're on a tournament and your 5-fish limit. So I understand they're going for big fish. But at the same time, I feel like a 6 and 8 inch sometimes is just too much bait, and so it doesn't, I can't throw it in every situation. So comparing it to the other two options out there for me, that I'm going to buy, I'm looking at the Strike King Final Copy and the Megabass Mag Draft. I'm pretty sure 6th Sense has something similar to it. I haven't looked at it yet. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me, but I might be wrong there. So compared to the Strike King Final Copy, I absolutely hate the Final Copy. I did a whole YouTube video on it. It got like 2,000 views. I got a ton of backlash where people saying I don't know how to fish. I'm a bad, all this stuff, because I said I don't like the Final Copy. And I didn't like the Final Copy because for some reason when I would throw it compared to my Cullshad straight up caught more fish. I fished that Final Copy until I lost it down in South Carolina. I probably threw it 700, 800 times. I threw it a ton. I had days where I went out and just threw it for a straight hour and a half or 2 hours, and I caught one fish on the Final Copy. I have caught a ton on this Cullshad. So, not a fan of the Final Copy. I don't think I'll be picking one up again for a while. So, compared to the Cullshad, obviously the Cullshad wins. Going to the Mag Draft from Megabass, that's kind of been the gold standard for a while, and that's what everyone was saying, that they copied this off the Megabass Mag Draft, and Berkley, all they do is copy things, and said the same thing about the Nessie, and whatever, who cares. Like I said earlier in the episode, I just bought the Mag Draft, haven't had a chance to use it yet, but I will be excited to report back to you guys at some point on my thoughts. I am excited to test those two out. So my final thoughts on the Cullshad, and then we will move on to talk about the Kayak and the tackle box. So, my final thoughts: one, is a great fishing lure, especially for the price. Having the power bait scent and flavor in it is a huge thing for me. I like that they have a nice hook in it. Sometimes when you get some of these other, lures, you don't always have a great hook in them. So it comes standard with a very nice hook. It's better than a Final Copy. Again, not sure compared to a Mag Draft. I'll be intrigued to let you guys know. But if you're wanting to fish multi-species, which is what this podcast is primarily about, we do talk about other species. Bass is the big one because, guys, I'm in central Indiana. There's nothing else to fish here. There's largemouth, smallmouth, catfish, and carp. There's not much else for me to fish here. We have some walleye, some pike, but not really. So for multi-species fishing, it has a very good large bait fish profile that really can kind of hit a lot of fish on the head. It's got a good action to it. It's got, again, nice scent, nice taste. It doesn't feel too heavy on retrieval. You don't feel like you're really just dragging it. And because of that, you can tell when when you're kind of snagged on some grass, and you have some grass hanging off your hook, you can feel it really well on a lure like this. Being pre-rigged is really nice. The setup, I've got it connected. I haven't had any issues with the hook not deploying out of the clasp, and which means that I don't have any issues with the lure itself tearing. So I haven't destroyed the lure, which is nice, and I've used it a ton and will continue to. So overall, I do recommend that you try this lure. Go out. They're available almost everywhere. They're hard to miss. Go out and give one of them a try. All right, you guys. So that was my review of the Berkley Cullshad. Thank you guys so much for listening to that. And we're going to move on to my beginning to shop for a kayak. So I'm still quite a bit away from one, mostly because I don't have a truck yet. It's kind of hard to take a kayak on the back of my Volkswagen Jetta. But as we start truck shopping, we're also kayak hunting. And I'm kind of looking for it to tick a few boxes. So we're going to talk about the boxes I'm looking to tick. And then we're going to talk about the one option that I found I really, really like. So I want it pedal drive. I don't want it to paddle, and I'm not really in need for a motor. I'm mostly going to fish lakes and reservoirs. Might hop in a couple slow rivers around here in central Indiana. But I'm not going to be going super duper far. Not going to be out, in the Mississippi River, anything crazy. So, but I just want something that gets me out into the water and gets me into kayak fishing. I'm not looking to spend a bajillion dollars here. I'm looking for entry level, but kind of ticks the boxes. So, the one that I have kind of settled down on a bit, and I'm really researching into to see, if it's really what I want, comes from Academy Sports and Outdoors, and it is their brand Magellan, and it's their 10.5-foot pro angler pedal drive kayak. If you go to an Academy, you go to the kayak section, it's the blue one that says Magellan on it. So let's hear exactly what Academy says about this kayak. Introducing the Magellan Outdoors Pro Pedal Drive Kayak with dimensions of 10 foot 6 inches in length and 35 inches in width and 15 inches in height. This kayak boasts a sturdy yet manageable weight of 88 pounds and an impressive weight capacity of 400 pounds. Equipped with a pedal drive system and a steerable rudder system, navigating through waters becomes effortlessly smooth. Its features include a large front storage hatch, multiple modular accessory rails, adjustable elevated seat, large rear tank well storage, and under-seat utility tackle storage, providing ample space for gear and provisions. Crafted with a roto-molded body and non-slip standing platform alongside molded-in handles for convenient transportation. With its array of amenities including rod holders, adjustable foot pegs, multiple tackle storage slots, and being transducer ready, the Magellan Outdoors Pro Pedal Drive Kayak delivers an exceptional kayaking experience tailored to meet the needs of any adventurer on the water. Features and benefits that they state on here are roto-molded body, which offers lightweight strength, pedal drive system with steerable rudder, which is included, molded handles for easy carrying, elevated seat holds, or an elevated seat, adjustable foot pegs, non-slip standing platform, rod holders, front hatch and rear tank, and I believe the rear one's also a dry hatch as well. Under-seat storage, modular accessory rails, transducer ready, and a weight capacity of 400 pounds. This is wild to me, guys, and wait till you hear the price. So you start talking about a Hobie Outback, or you start talking about, an Old Town, or any of these other brands, you're looking at $2,000-$3,000 for one of these kayaks. This one comes, and because of the pedal drive system, it's got the actual propeller on the bottom. It's not the Mirage drive, so it has instant reverse. This kayak comes to at $1,199.99, $1,199.99, $1,200 for a sit-on-top molded kayak with pedal drive system. That is insane, guys. So here's the specs on it, as we talked about. A 400-pound weight capacity, so that's me and about 140 pounds of gear. It's a one-seater kayak, weighs 88 pounds. It's a sit-on, not a sit-in. It's 15 inches tall, 35 inches wide, and 126 inches in length. So here's what I absolutely, like I said, love about it. One, comes with the pedal drive. Don't have to buy that separately. It's got the molded-in handles, which is absolutely humongous for me. I love the molded-in handles. It's just one less thing to break. Got a ton of accessory rails on it. You get to sit on top rather than sit down in it, so it's a lot more comfortable. It's got a nice, almost like patio chair style seat in it. It's got like foam padding in the deck itself, so when you stand in it, I'm pretty sure it's got a tri-hull. It's like the tri-tune hull underneath it, which is cool. Dry storage in the back and plenty of extra storage, cup holders, and it's also transducer ready. So for me, what that means is I'm not looking for live scope. Obviously, I'm not going to be into live scope, but I am going to be looking for a fish finder, mostly for one to locate, hey, here's the approximate area of some fish we can throw at them. But also I want to know depth and water temperature and stuff like that. And so for hunt, you can throw $140, Garmin Striker 4 on there, and you're good to go. So the fact that I can have this kayak ready the way I want it for $1,400, with tax about $1,400, is absolutely crazy to me. When you start talking about other kayaks are $2,000 and $3,000 or more, if you start looking at like the Hobie Pro Angler, it's like a $6,000 kayak. Now that's a 14-foot kayak that's built for people who are going to run live scope and motor mounts and stuff like that, which I'm not going to do. I want something that gets me around mostly still or slow-moving water. So this kayak is an absolute steal in my opinion, and hopefully, and I cross my fingers, hopefully in about a year when I'm ready to pull the trigger and buy a kayak, they're still sitting around ready to go. So that is the kayak I'm looking at buying. Wanted to talk to you guys about that. I thought it was pretty cool. Go ahead and check them out yourselves. They're dark blue color. They say Magellan on them. They look really great. If you've ever used any Magellan brand stuff from Academy, it's pretty good stuff. You're not getting cheapo crap. So Now we're going to move on real quick, guys, to our tackle box. We have one question for our tackle box, and it comes in from Bradley. And Bradley wants to know, what is your go-to lure right now? So I don't want to give too much away on this, not because I'm hiding the juice, but because we're going to talk about the juice on next week's episode. We got a really cool episode coming for episode 10. I'm going to talk about some juice and stuff that I've learned recently. But right now I'm loving the Zoom Super Fluke and the Rage Tail line of, the Rage Bug, the Rage Crawl, the Punch Bug, stuff like that. So hint, hint, nod, nod, wink, wink. Tune in next week to understand what I'm talking about. I've learned a really cool rigging technique with these that I just learned. Maybe you guys know it already, and that's fine. But if you don't, I'm going to put you guys onto the juice next week. So right now it is the Zoom Super Fluke in pretty natural colors. The water's pretty clear around here right now, so I'm running a lot of like bluegill and bass colors, a little sparkly. I'm not going outrageous chartreuse and pink and anything like that. I'm going, some very natural colors. And then obviously the good old fashion Rage Tail, Rage Car, Rage Bug, stuff like that is going to always be a good option. All right, everybody, that is this week's episode for you all. I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you have, please be sure to drop us a positive review wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's a 5-star review on Spotify, written reviews on Apple, dropping a subscription or a follow on any of the platforms as well. We are on Apple, we're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and even Amazon Podcast now. So go ahead and check us out on all of those. Also, please be sure to drop a follow to my Instagram and my YouTube regardless. They're both Tyler Plackey Fishing. You can keep up with me, what I'm doing. DM me suggestions for the show, ask questions for the tackle box, or just chat with me. I love talking about fishing with you guys. So thank you all so much for listening. I really do appreciate all of your support, dedicating your time to listen to the show every week. It really does mean a lot for me. That's the whole reason I do this show. I want to talk fishing. I love talking fishing. So hopefully you guys enjoy listening to me talk fishing. So that is it, you guys. And until next time, everyone, tight lines, y'all.